Sheikh Abdul Hakim, a frequent speaker at MCMC, said something very profound. He said, I've been to hundreds of masajid all over the country, and whenever I've seen people raise their hands in response to an appeal, there's always this big smile on their face. Subhanallah, just let that sink in. It's like imagine if someone jumps in a swimming pool, it is 100% guaranteed that this person will get wet. Similarly, once we donate for the sake of Allah, it's like jumping in a pool filled with happiness. You are guaranteed to be drenched in happiness. Brothers and sisters, we are reaching out to you with an urgent appeal regarding MCMC operations. There has been no Jummah collection for almost 2 months now, and now with the masjid closed during Ramadan, it is indeed a huge financial burden. Ramadan is the time we collect funds that enable us to do hundreds of programs throughout the year. We collect funds to improve our security, to improve the overall facility, and to do outreach work throughout the year. Times are tough, and no doubt there are hundreds of good causes to donate, but upkeeping your home has to be the #1 priority. If MCMC is where you pray your daily prayers, if this is the place where you pray Jummah, Taraweeh, Eid, if this is the place where your kids learn about Allah and His Messenger, then this is your home. This is your primary responsibility to maintain your home. Please visit mcmcnj.org/themasjid and support and upkeep your home. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you and your family and fill your heart with happiness.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والشمس وضحاها والقمر إذا تلاها والنهار إذا جلاها والليل إذا يغشاها والسماء وما بناها والأرض وما طحاها ونفس وما سواها فألهمها فجورها وتقواها قد أفلح من زكاها وقد خاب من دساها كذبت ثمود بطغواها إذا انبعث أشقاها فقال لهم رسول الله ناقة الله وسقياها فكذبوه فعقروها فدمدم عليهم ربهم بذنبهم فسواها ولا يخاف عقباها صدق الله العلي العظيم.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everyone. Today we're doing another series of our Ramadan Stars program. And this is a continuation from what Sister Fatma talked about yesterday. My title for today's talk is The Treacherous Journey to Yathrib. Yathrib was what it was called back then, now modern day it's named Medina. First, I would like to remind everyone before I begin, inshallah, is to please go to mcmcnj.org/the masjid/please donate today to inshallah continue programs like these and support our masjid and our community, inshallah. So Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So what do we know from Sister Fatma's story of A New Hope? I'm going to ask these questions, inshallah, all the kids and even adults that were viewing and tuning in yesterday, if you guys can answer some of these questions for me in the chat that I will be looking at. So where did the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam say to migrate to for this new hope for the Muslims? So I'm going to give a few moments, inshallah, to everyone and see if anybody responds to this question, that where was this place that we were going to, the Muslims were to migrate to for New Hope. And I have someone named Afif Muhammad, and they are saying Medina. And Zuhaz is also saying Medina. Good job, both of you, mashallah. And also, the next question is, what was the Quraysh's evil plan against the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? So what did they, what was the end result of what they were going to do to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? If you guys can also respond to that. If you were going to say that they were going to kill him, they wanted to. Anisa is saying that Anisa is saying Medina, yes. And then Afif Muhammad is to kill him. Good job, yes. And who disguised himself in the house, in the bed of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to trick the Quraysh that were kind of outside of the tents surrounding the Prophet's house? Ali radiallahu, good job. Kashif Khan, good job. Ali radiallahu anha, yes. And Afif, good job. And Zuha and Anisa, good job. So whose house did the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam went to hide in secret to accompany him to the Hijrah? This was my last question. So we kind of can recap of where we are in the story before I continue. Kashif Khan, yes. Abu Bakr, good job, mashallah. He went to the house of his companion, his friend, his best friend, Abu Bakr Siddiq, radiallahu anha. Zuha, good job. Zuha also answered. Afif also answered. Good job, guys. So yesterday's Sister Fatima left off at that the Prophet ﷺ and Abu Bakr had left to journey, and they hid in the cave of Thor. And this was this cave, what in location was south of Mecca, and Medina is in the north region. So for an easier route, someone traveling to Medina would just go from Mecca down north. But Prophet ﷺ and Abu Bakr, they did not want to be caught by the disbelievers, so they went upward, south, and hid in this cave of Thor. As we know, instead of going in the direction, so they went the opposite direction to throw the disbelievers off. They hid in this cave for definitely 3 days. When entering this cave, Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu was really concerned for the Prophet ﷺ, as this is the cave, and there's like very dangerous creatures like scorpions, snakes, and so to satisfy his paranoia, I would say, he was just worried that something might happen to the Prophet ﷺ. So he would quietly go in first, clean the area for him, and so he entered. And also, in many narrations, they've mentioned that the cave was like so low at the floor, like the feet level, so you have to kind of go underground. So which is very, very easy for a lot of creatures to get in, like snakes, scorpions, and all of that. So and when the Prophet ﷺ, they were in the cave, Abu Bakr, he was very anxious, and he was always worried that somebody would, somebody might see them, somebody might think that they're in there. But the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, he always remained calm. Not only later on you'll see I'll mention, but throughout the entire journey, he did what he could to take precaution. Like hiding in this cave is his precaution, and then leaving the rest up to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And also since the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu hid in this cave for 3 days, in the midst of this, Asma, the daughter of Abu Bakr, who was the elder daughter, the younger was Aisha radiallahu anha. She was too young, so Asma would bring news and food to the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and Abu Bakr radiallahu anha to from Mecca to the cave, and she was very brave for doing this. And she was even at one point caught by a disbeliever, and she was asked questions, and subhanallah, her belief in the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, she absolutely did not say anything whatsoever. So in these 3 days, as the Quraysh were looking, first of all, they were very shocked at the fact that in the morning when Ali radiallahu anhu came out of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's house, that how did this even happen? And as we know from the story from yesterday, that Sister Fatima mentioned that the dust flew in the eyes of the disbelievers, and they could not see when the Prophet escaped. So they were harshly, they were very eager, they were very upset that this had happened, that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam had escaped right beneath their nose. And so they were extremely, extremely eager to find him. And their search during the first day out of these 3 days were continuously, but in the first day that they had noticed that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his companion has disappeared, they did a very intense search, and therefore if the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Abu Bakr did not leave the cave for 3 days, until by the third day the search had minimalized, it had decreased, so increased their levels of not getting caught if they were to leave. And while being in the cave, Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu noticed that there were a group of eager men. And the Quraysh actually, they had placed, because they were so angry at the fact that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam would somehow escape from them, and so they placed a reward of giving 100 camels for the life, whether they find Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam dead or alive, they were to get rewarded 100 camels. So there were very eager disbelievers that were in constant search. So there were men that Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu saw from as it was lower by the feet area, he saw footsteps by outside of the cave, and so he did not care about his own safety. He only cared about the safety of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he was just very eager in terms of like protecting the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And subhanallah, during this time, there are narration that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protected them, that during this time, because the cave's door, the entrance was so low, it was easy to depict that the spider had grown drew its nest, like, you know, its web all around the entrance, and then that there were birds nested around it. So these two creatures from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we know that when spiders and like birds, and specifically mentioned like doves, they create nests in where there is not a lot of human activity. SubhanAllah, and this was a command by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect them, protect the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his companion. And this had happened during that one really scare that they had, that somebody might almost had found them. So the search for the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam had continued. They searched again very intensely, and it decreased by day. And when by the third day, and they noticed, by day I mean the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu, when they heard news, because they would have people that would come to them in secrecy to update them on the news, and the intensity of the search had kind of decreased because they were really relying on the greed of the people, the greed that, you know, we have put reward for 100 camels, so someone's bound to show up, and the word had spread like, you know, like fire per se. So they, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu, they had enlisted and hired someone to guide them to Medina, for someone who is meticulous, who is well aware of the geography of the area. And they hired Abdullah bin Urayqit, and he is an expert of navigation. He was not a Muslim, but he was a trustworthy man. And so he accompanied the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Abu Bakr to leave the cave and head towards the direction of Yathrib. And again, this man was well known as an expert of navigation. He knew how to get from point A to point B in a variety of different ways, and therefore a perfect personnel to help the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu to escape to Medina in a route that is not known and not normal to not usual for people to take. And they wanted Abdullah bin Urayqit to guide them in a way that nobody would know, nobody would assume, using various routes and twists and turns through these deserted areas that, you know, people could not detect them. And so Abdullah bin Urayqit led them in a very unusual route. On their way, Abu Bakr as-Siddiq would not stay in one place while walking, so they were part of a caravan. They had camels that they use as a source of transportation, but also sometimes on feet. So the Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu would not stay in one place. He would sometime move forward, would be in front of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or be in the back of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or the right or the left, and constantly rotating, encircling himself, keeping and the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam he remained calm because they were out in the open. So this was like, since they were trying to escape, they really didn't want to be seen by anybody or hurt by anybody. So the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam remained calm, and he remained calm by constant recitation, constant dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Again, that's one of the major ways that we can also remain, like we can use as a way to remain calm when we're upset or when we're anxious, is doing the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, subhanAllah, he remained calm throughout this whole thing. And mind you, there are people out there to, you know, are being paid, being rewarded to kill him. So if that was any of us, I don't think we would even step out the door, you know. And subhanAllah, this is why he's so beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the sacrifices that he's made. And this is very minute of many that he's made, but the Prophet ﷺ actually in humor had asked Abu Bakr Siddiq, like, why are you encircling me? You know, why are you so worried? And Abu Bakr had said, like, just in case someone sees us, anyone catches us or tries to hit us, I want to make sure I am in between you and the enemy. So if they try to hit us, I get hit before you, my Rasul. And so this was, subhanAllah, the love that his companion and many others had for Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And on their way, there were a group of people in the desert area in their journey, seated, and in the far they saw a caravan, and the caravan included Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, and the navigator Abdullah bin Urayq. And these so from the far, among these people was the group of men that were seated. There was a man called Suraka bin Malik, and he was sitting in, and he spotted the caravan, and the group of them started to whisper and think to themselves, like, hey, could this be the man, the prophet, the man that claims the prophet, the one who the reward is for? And Suraka goes, no. That's not Muhammad. These are people I already know of. They had lost their camel in the area and they're looking for their camel. And the reason he said this is he wanted to divert these people that he was sitting with because he wanted the reward all to himself. And because of that greed, and it's not only him, many other people were in the trenches of just harming anyone or anything just to increase in wealth. So Suraka told these people, and he engaged them in a different conversation, and he told them, no, that's not Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, that's not who the Quraysh are looking for. I know these people, so you guys can go ahead, this is not them. So after he kind of diverted their mind and engaged them in a different conversation, he said, okay, now I'm going to excuse myself. He excused himself and he went straight to his force. And then this man, Suraka bin Malik, he was known for his horsemanship, that he was a great horse rider. And so he started to chase after the people of the caravan. Notice that is Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And this man, Suraka bin Malik, he was a well experienced horse rider. And once he had paused, he was at a distance from the caravan of the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and himself, that if he was to shoot an arrow to the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, it would be an easy shot. As well, this man, Suraka bin Malik, was also an expert at doing bow and arrow. So Suraka, Abu Bakr actually saw this man, and he said that this man is getting closer. He's near us. He has a bow and arrow. And the Prophet ﷺ, he still remained calm. SubhanAllah. He didn't even turn back to look at who this man was. And Prophet Muhammad ﷺ told Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu that, don't worry, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he's with us. So when Suraka picked up his bow and arrow to shoot towards the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, his horse slipped into the sand and Suraka fell off his horse. Mind you, this man is an expert who has never fell off his horse or ever. So he was stunned for a moment, but then he was like, it's okay, this was an accident. Let me back up and I will continue to chase them. The second time he was ready to shoot them. Same thing happened again, and he fell down and he realized, I have never fell again. And he fell down again. He realized that this has happened 2 times in a row. So he tried the third time. And now this happened again. So now he realized there is something seriously wrong. This man has to be the Rasul. So he screams towards the caravan and he says, Ya Muhammad, I'm not going to hurt you. I just want to talk to you. I'm not going to do anything to you. So the Prophet ﷺ said, okay, you can come. So with that permission, Suraka realized that this man is not a normal man and that he is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because now he was able to go to him. And he asked the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ that I want, once you are in power, in a position of power or authority, I want to request a promise of safety from you. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, okay, I give you the promise under one condition. And Suraka said, what is it? The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said that you cannot share with anyone that you saw us, that you met us, that you spoke with us. When you go back to your people, you don't tell them where you met me or my location, basically. And if they were to insist, that you were going to mislead them in an opposite direction. Suraka said, okay, I'm willing to do this. And subhanAllah, alhamdulillah, Suraka did keep his promise to the Prophet ﷺ. And just at a side note, this promise of security from the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, what came in handy to Suraka 8 years later, when Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was in power of the Islamic State, and during a battle, Suraka was a prisoner in the battle, and he was brought to Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, and that's when he had released Suraka and fulfilled his promise. And during that time, Suraka also became a Muslim. But duration of this this story where he first encountered Prophet Muhammad ﷺ he was not a Muslim, and even 8 years he was not a Muslim. So back to the story of the journey. So after this encounter, the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and Abu Bakr and the third companion, Abdullah ibn Urayqit, they continued to their journey to Medina, Yathrib. So on their way, they realized that they had run out of all goods. They ran out of supplies like food and water. So they stopped at a tent of a woman, Bat, and she does not have any food or anything to drink. And the Prophet ﷺ and his companion asked this woman, do you have anything for me? And so she says that you wouldn't even have to ask me. If I had it, I would have presented it to you. And the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ started to look around, and this woman had a goat, very weak old goat, a she-goat. And this goat did not produce milk anymore and hasn't for many, many years. And the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ asks the Bat, like, may I milk this goat? The woman says that this goat has no milk, it's weak, and it's old, and it hasn't given me milk for many, many years. And the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ says, okay, but can I still try to milk it? She says, okay, go ahead, please. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ recites Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, and he puts his hand over the goat, and subhanAllah, milk comes out of the goat in large quantities, where the Prophet ﷺ requests Bat to bring vessels, all the vessels she has in her home, and Prophet Muhammad ﷺ fills those vessels, and he gives to Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu first, and Abdullah ibn Urayqit and Bat. They drink from it first before the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ drinks from it, and he drinks last. He mentions that one man, the person who milks the goat, drinks last. Subhanallah, and this was a miracle during the journey to Yathrib that this woman Bat had witnessed of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. And so soon after this encounter, the journey of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ with his companions ends, And the duration of this journey is about a week, which was 3 days at the cave and about 3 to 4 days from the encounter of Suraka to the encounter of Umaydah. And alhamdulillah, the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ with his companions reached Yathrib, now Medina, at 12th of Rabiul Awwal. And inshallah, tune in tomorrow for the continuation of the story of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, his arrival and welcome to Yathrib, inshallah. And don't forget to donate. And please share your video of recitation or calling of Adhan. You can submit it at mcmcnj.org/Ramadan stars /. Inshallah. Jazakallahu khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allah.